Catch us ballin' like we just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. Catch us ballin' like we just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. We just hit the jackpot. We just hit the. Yeah, I'm Savior Beats. I'm Nicola Pope. Coming at you from Atlanta, that's a fofo. And the 678-770. Peace state, great state, where we puffin' that dro. Trying to get away, people let it stray. Yeah, we just wanna lead, wanna motivate. But I'm the type of cracker that you love to hate. Yeah, and I'm the type of nigga that you love to hate. Spend a night with me, and it's like you hit the jackpot. They love it. The bottles are flowing, the women are dancing, my crew in the booth, sipping on 100 proof, whiskey, tequila, and vodka. My crew, we kick it like soccer, smoking on weed that got hell like Chewbacca, wearing tight pants like I was a punk rocker, rocking Cali Tans, you can catch me in the vans, but you never advance unless you take a chance.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another game rundown of this Big Brother 17 season. We're here with On the Block, and we got Julie and Nolan joining us. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. So no, we've looked forward to it. We've been very vocal about how what became known as the Oz Twins was obviously a huge juggernaut in the house this whole season, and yes. Majority of the season, the controlling portion of the season, and it was a thing that's never been seen before on Big Brother US, and to my knowledge, anywhere else. I'm sure it has been as many Big Brothers as there's been, but this was a big 3-person group that nobody knew how to take apart. It was y'all had a lot of control in the house, and we want to talk about basically what got you into the house to start that whole run.
Before we start all that, your sister kind of told us about the hashtag twins that kind of got you into it. But so you have a little bit different, perspective. I just kind of want to know, like, how did your sister bring it to you? How did you react to that? And where did you start studying? Bring us through that process. Like, bring us from your sister coming up to you and being like, well, we have this opportunity. Like, how did it all start?
Right. So Liz was the one who was in touch with the, casting and, their people. So she told us about we're going to be on like a twin show. And we were like, yes, like we would absolutely love to do this. It sounds so fun. And, when we found out it wasn't for a twin show, it was actually for Big Brother, we were even more excited because my aunt is a super fan. And we both watched the show. We watched season 2, like, religiously, like when we were like a lot like younger, but we love season 2. So we were definitely familiar with Big Brother. And when we found out it was Big Brother, we're like, oh my God, we have to do this. My aunt would be so happy that we're doing Big Brother, her favorite show ever. And that's sort of how it came about. When we found out it was going to be for the twin twist, that was really exciting too, because, we had heard about season 5 with Adrian and Natalie. So we're like, okay, we have to watch this season. We have to see what they did and, write down like all their tricks, like, wearing the hat when they would go when they were switching and stuff. So we had to do our research, and, we didn't start binge watching it until we went to sequester because we both had to work. So when we first found out, that definitely helped us when we watched a lot of the show, especially season 5.
So you were in as soon as from the get-go. You were ready to go. You wanted to do it. There was no hesitation from you.
I mean, there was a little hesitation from us because we're not, Steve super fans that we've seen every season. Yeah. We both realized, okay, there's strategy. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know the game. So we tried to do our homework because we both had to work up until we left for sequester. So we wish we could have watched more seasons, but, we were definitely not completely clueless, but a lot of it we were, we weren't like big fans. So we didn't really know what we were doing until we watched like a lot of the seasons in sequester. That helped us.
I didn't ask Liz this, but were y'all sequestered in the same hotel room and one would just pull away from the other one?
Yes, exactly. We were in the same place, and every week she would switch, I would switch, we'd go back and forth.
Well, even before she entered the house, was there ever a point where y'all were sequestered separately?
No, we were always together. From as soon as we came out to LA, we were together.
Okay.
All right. So going into the house, you go in on day 2, from what I hear.
Yes.
All right, and so like you're coming in at a huge disadvantage. It's you know, it's got to be the scariest moment. Kind of walk us through the first moment you step into the house, because you have an experience unlike any other. Because you don't even walk in on the first day, and you walk in and everyone thinks you've already been there. Just walk us through that first time getting through that door.
Yeah.
Okay, first time I'm walking through the door, like it's our first switch. She tells me that, you know, she got this safety. I don't think this was yet. I could have been, day 2. I don't really remember, but I think she had gotten the safety at that point, and I was like, oh my gosh, like no pressure. Now I have to like pretend like, you know, to know this, like to know Davon, and like had the conversation. I had to like remember the conversation they had. But walking through the house was so, I always think about that moment because it was so crazy. I had no idea where anything was. I'm just literally walking into a house. There's all the boys were in the kitchen, and I'm like walking by them, like super intimidated. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know any of these guys. I'm pretending to like look for a cup to get water, but I have no idea where the cups are. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom, I collect myself. I'm like, okay, just go to the room, like keep exploring, you know? I go to the back room, which was the have-not room. Before it was a have-not room, and all the girls are in the bed talking, and like I just go lay in bed, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope the outside opens soon, so like, you know, we're not all stuck inside. And it was super intimidating. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where anything was.
What was your strategy for awkward. Were you just gonna try to just listen in, really be observant, and not be a speaking part? Because you don't even know anyone's names. You have to really learn everyone's names.
I know. They gave me like a little sheet of paper with everyone's face and name, so I could remember the name. So I did memorize everyone's name, but it's like, I had never talked to you before. This is so awkward. Like I don't barely know you, you know?
That's cool. You got a cheat sheet. That's really cool.
I did. I got a cheat sheet, yes.
It seems like it'd be impossible without that.
Exactly.
You'd be super fun. All right, so you get you have safety. Pretty much once you have safety, what is your kind of plans? Like, what is your goal moving forward? Are you trying to find alliances? Are you trying to find a showmance? Are you looking to get in the bed? What's your plans now that you are safe in this first week?
Honestly, what my sister said, we were just really trying to lay low. We didn't want to, you know, come into the house too strong and be like one of the first people out, because it's always like the first person out's the one with a really strong personality and, you know, makes a bad move in the beginning. So we wanted to lay low. We definitely didn't want to seem intimidating, like game-wise. So, you know, coming into it, we're like, okay, until I get into the house, we probably shouldn't win HOH, because we're going to have to remember every single conversation that we had with people, and we're going to have to tell each other. So we were like, we cannot win the first HOHs until I go into the house, because, you know, we're not going to be able to remember everyone's conversation with each other. So that was one of the things that we had discussed. But other than that, we didn't want to make a huge target, and we just definitely wanted to lay low, and, you know, fingers crossed no one would be able to tell that we are twins. And that was a fail by week 2. So
In that first week, your sister kind of starts to develop a relationship with Jace and Austin.
Yes.
I think she mentioned that you started to kind of develop a relationship with Johnny Mac and Steve. How do you guys kind of like negotiate those waters? How do you guys kind of like, all right, well, I'm close with these people, you're close with these people. How do you guys kind of decide on like, all right, well, let's be team Austin and Jace? Because
where to focus your game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, okay, so I came into the house on the second day, and I stayed till Sunday. I remember it was like Friday to Sunday, and Friday to Sunday, and I got along well with Jace and Austin as well. So that was easy for us. We both got along with the same 2 people in the house, and we decided, okay, we want to work with them. Like, that's our team. Tres Amigos Alliance. That was like the first alliance we were ever a part of. But Steve and John actually didn't come later. Like, I started getting really, like, I started like really liking Johnny Mac when we did Whack Street Boys. So that didn't come till later, but when we both got into the house, we both immediately gravitated towards Jason Austin. So that's where we were like, okay, we both clicked with them really well. That's who we're gonna, you know, hang out with.
Did y'all click with Austin, or did y'all click with Jace and Austin was his boy, or did you click with Austin and Jace?
It was kind of like both of them were both like, you know, it was both of them. It wasn't one more than the other. We just, it was both of them at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, great. All right. Let's get into that first week. Jason and James are going to win co-HOHs because this is the Battle of the Block season.
Yes.
Becky, Johnny Mac, and Jackie Steve are nominated.
Yes.
Becky and Johnny Mac win Battle of the Block. Steve's going to win the Power Veto. And then the final noms are going to be Jackie and Jace. Okay, Jace is your boy. He's on the block in a lot of trouble, and he's toast. Okay,
Yes.
How much of him being on the block were you in the house for?
Okay, so I was there, not so much. I remember me and Liz switched during that live eviction. So he had made a speech, and then Liz goes into the GR, and I come out. So, I was there for the veto. I remember Nova Scotia, but I wasn't there for, the moments up to him getting evicted. But as with Liz, we weren't in that original 8-person alliance. We were all, me, Jason, Austin were on the outside of the house. We hadn't had an alliance yet. Yeah. So, we were definitely not the main players, and I didn't find out till the day of when I was there for his, the veto ceremony. So I didn't find out till like it happened, and it was like crazy. We didn't see it coming, and that was that's when I realized, okay, me and Liz are definitely like not in this main alliance, and we got to start, getting in better alliances because Jace is obviously leaving, so
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, like Jace, he was too far out there to reel back in. I mean, there's no point in spoiling the game to fight for him.
Right.
But so when he goes, it's going to leave Jackie in the house. Jackie's also a part of a twist. This BB takeover with the Amazing Race.
Yes.
Did you hear any talk about the fear of keeping Jackie and Jeff together? I mean, like it seems like Jace had a lot to campaign with,
right.
But he was the dead set target. Was there any fear of Jackie and Jeff being outside the house relationship that concerned you?
Yeah, no, honestly, that it wasn't a concern at that point. I think, Jace almost beat James in the first HOH, so I think that's why Jackie, stayed over him because he did really well in that first HOH, so everyone thought, okay, he's a competition beast. People were, I think, intimidated by his loud personality, so honestly, I wasn't thinking, okay, we need to separate Jackie and Jeff yet because it was really early in the game, and at that point, you don't really know people's potential yet,
Yeah,
So-
no, absolutely no, and that we've always agreed that Jace was a perfect first week eviction, huge personality,
Yes.
huge physical threat, and
Right.
didn't blend. So boom, I mean,
Exactly.
he was going to walk. So okay, so he gets
Exactly.
evicted. We go into week 2. Shelly and Becky are going to win the HOHs. Devon, Johnny Mac, Jason, Steve get nominated. Battle of the Block winners are Jason and Steve. Johnny Mac is going to win this veto. So Devon and Meg are on the block. Now, this was a situation we just talked to Liz where there was some trouble because as of this point, she had the Six Sense Alliance hasn't really formed or hasn't formed, and Shelly didn't know where Liz's head was at. So y'all almost on the block. She kind of kept y'all off the block, according to her. And then you came in with Devon and Meg already on the block, and Devon the clear target after her blow up with Audrey. So how many days of this week are you in the house? What part of this week are you involved?
So Liz was in the house when the decision had to be made to make a replacement nominee after John had won. And, it was shocking to me. I had no idea that Liz was about to be a replacement. It was going to be Meg or Liz. And I give Liz all the credit for this week. She definitely went up to Shelly's HOH room. She cried. She said, please don't put me on the block. And I think that was such a smart move because that's the week that Devon started finding out that we were twins. And if it was Liz versus Devon, I think we would have gone home that week because Devon, was ready to use it against us. Oh, I know you're a twin. She approached me that week and she was like, I know you're a twin. I really need you, Austin and Vanessa's vote. And, I want to work with you. But in my mind, I never really clicked with Devon. And that was another hard part about Liz getting the fast forward from her. It's because I had to, pretend like I had the conversation with her. And I never really felt I didn't feel an attachment towards her. I didn't really get along with her. So that was really hard for me to, pretend oh, you gave me this fast forward. I'm so grateful because, she doesn't know that I'm really Julia.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's how that week went. I'm so glad Liz, cried her eyes out and made her case for, us to not be on the block, and Meg was.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so Devon's going to go. You said there's no attachment there whatsoever. She's somebody rid of. What day do you tell Vanessa about the twin twist in relation to all this happening? Because it's right around this area, correct?
Yes. I believe I told her, I think it was Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday night. It was after the Jeff and Austin show because I had, or it could have been Wednesday. I'm not sure. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday because I had just been grilled by the other house guests because they were all in on it. They knew that I was a twin and they wanted me on the show to like try and catch me in a lie. And yeah, so I told her that night because I'm like, I realized I needed help. I couldn't do this on my own. And Vanessa approached me about it and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna tell her because I trust her.
I remember like them grilling you. How tough was that? How like?
Oh my god!
Because I remember it, and everyone was kind of like onto it, and they wanted to catch you, and they were kind of like ribbing
Johnny
you.
Mac would look at people's teeth. And
yes,
stuff.
yes, the teeth
I know.
thing.
The number 9. Yeah,
you knew what they were doing the whole time. Of course,
I knew exactly what they were doing, and I really tried. Like, I had eaten like a week-old rotten roast beef that day in my sandwich, so I was gonna be like, okay, I can't do this show. I'm like sick. I was gonna fake like my stomach was hurting. So when everyone's like, oh, you have to do it, I was like, great. Like everyone's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be sleeping, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pretend to be Liz as best I can, and what really messed us up was the small details, like her telling people of some stories that I didn't know of. So, if we had to go back, I definitely, do the smaller details instead of talking about.
Well, I mean, in hindsight,
you couldn't cover it all.
I know.
And in hindsight, you guys made it pretty goddamn far. You did pretty well regardless. I don't think one little change here or there is gonna change much. I think you guys did very, very well.
I mean,
regardless.
because of your play. Okay, let's still for timeline. Veto meeting probably happened that Monday where Meg went up. So Tuesday was the Jeff and Austin show. Is that right? And then you told Julia, you told Vanessa that night. So so then that's when basically Sixth Sense is going to start forming now that she knows you have people to protect you. So that ended up being a great move. I'm sure that was very scary, but why? But you just knew Vanessa was the right person to tell. Was there any obviously Austin would be somebody to have gone to. I know. Tell me about your relationship with Austin
Vanessa
versus Vanessa too.
Okay. Yes. With Vanessa, I completely give Austin credit. Like we started getting friendly with Vanessa because of Austin. So we were good friends because, I was really close with Austin, and Vanessa, she just seemed like, we just clicked right away, and I was just like, Vanessa's coming up. She's telling me this information that, oh, have you heard what people have been saying? And like, I just decided in that moment, I'm like, honestly, I trust Vanessa. I have a good feeling about her. And I just went out on a limb and decided I'm going to tell Vanessa, and I'll tell Austin later. But, I think it was a good move to tell Vanessa in that moment. I didn't want to lie to her, and I wanted her to be able to trust me because I didn't deny it like I did with Davon. I immediately told her, I'm like, you know what? I'm a twin. Yes, you got me.
Sure, and it's huge information, huge information, and luckily for you, it was played to your advantage. So Sixth Sense Alliance is going to form, and basically the whole idea is just to get you into the house, which is really pretty awesome because you and your sister and Austin are going to benefit the most from this,
right?
But they all still rally to allow this to happen. People outside the house were just like, why in the hell would you let a twin get in? That's one more person to deal with, and it was kind of interesting that they decided to use it that way because, really and truly, it's not going to help Clay and Shelly whatsoever. So, and we will get to that as we walk through this next week. You're not going to have any trouble. We got Gronk's, not much of a takeover, not much to really deal with or worry about as far as twists go. But Vanessa and Austin are going to win HOH, so you're set. Noms are James, Johnny Mac, Jason Meg. Jason Meg wins Battle of the Block. Johnny Mac wins Power Veto. And then ultimately the final noms will be James and Jeff, with Jeff going home. Now, this week, it's kind of hard to talk, not hard to talk to you about it, but it's like we've got to talk about what days you were there for different parts of this. So tell me what days you were there and how you played it. And what obviously there wasn't a lot to play. People already knew about you, so you just had to kind of just kind of stay close to Sixth Sense, I'm guessing, and keep going. But just kind of tell me about it.
Okay, well, this week was so hard for me because I remember I was in the house, and I was the one who played Gronk Pong, and I remember that day. I may be backtracking a little bit, but Jeff was like really hard on me. But I don't want to say bullying, but he was just always on my case. Like one night he goes in the bathroom, he's like, "Oh, Liz." He's like, "Liz, let's play 20 questions." And that's when I started freaking out. I'm like, "Oh my God, like I don't even know." I'm going to bed. Like I'm not playing 20 questions with you because obviously I knew what he was doing. He's trying to like catch me in this lie. So that week I was like, okay, I need to stay away from Jeff. James was in on it too. That they were just kind of being mean, and I was like, okay, I need to just stick with my alliance and try and survive another week. So I knew this week I was going to be safe, and we had to win the next HOH because obviously that's the week Liz won, and I'm so happy she won because we stayed in the house. We were almost in the house at that point.
Okay, so as you talked about earlier, your plan was not to win an HOH until you both got in. But since you were like really very well insulated with the Sixth Sense Alliance, also Shelly's going to win the co-HOH this week. This was a fine time for Liz to win it. You weren't concerned. Y'all were able to talk the same strategy. You knew what was going on in the game. So this HOH was not overwhelming for you, was it?
At all. And we realized, we're so close to getting in the house together. She just wanted to win it to guarantee our safety for another week. And, honestly, if Liz hadn't won that battle of the block with James, she could have very well gone home. So even though it's good that we did get dethroned because, we didn't have to remember people's conversations. We weren't like, the heads of household for that week since we got dethroned. So, that was a really good thing. And Vanessa, I'm so happy that she stayed in power because, she had the ultimate decision, and that was to send, Jason home.
Okay. Well, okay. The Battle of the Block winners are going to be Jackie and James, which does dethrone Liz. Jason, John, our noms, Power Veto is going to go to Vanessa, and Audrey's going to go up. Audrey's leaving the house with a big presence out of the house. She stirred a lot of shit up very early on.
Oh, yes.
And just really kind of, in a way, she was almost like a red herring for the downstairs part of the house this season. Sixth Sense formed. There's lots of aligning and all this kind of stuff. But Audrey's involvement, I think, kept a lot of people from really knowing exactly what was going on. And it also, I believed, helped Vanessa go from a very emotionally rocky start to able to control the information because everything was misinformation until the real game started. And that really kind of started once Audrey basically
left.
Shut up and Audrey left. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So Audrey is going to go. This is good for your game. So obviously, okay, if Audrey had stayed, what would scare you about that?
Well, Audrey, was never really on our team. We tried to bring her into the Sixth Sense Alliance, but she just was causing too many problems. A lot of people weren't happy with her because of the things that she said. So Audrey leaving was great for our game because it was another week that, we weren't the target. And, I don't know if you guys remember that week, but we all were in agreement that we were going to send her home. So obviously her going home over us is a great thing. And after that, we just realized we have only a couple more weeks and we're in the house together. So, we were egging it on okay, yes, we should send home Audrey over, someone else like us.
Yeah. So, okay, well, going in now that Audrey's gone, this is interesting because Austin throws a hinky vote. Vanessa's going to be pissed off about that when HOH next. So that's going to set up a lot of some, I guess, acrimony as far as this week goes because Liz gets nominated. And there's a whole plan for James to throw the Battle of the Block, to keep the nomination the same. Luckily for y'all, she wins. Becky and Clay are the noms, but Vito's going to go to Clay. And then Jason and Becky are going to be head to head. So this was kind of a stressful week for y'all because this is the week before you're going to get to come into the house.
Yes.
And there's lots of shit going on that could jeopardize that. So just kind of talk about that.
Okay.
Well, were you nominated? Was Liz nominated? I mean, when she won Battle of the Block, you were safe, but there was still, like I said, there's conversations of Austin going, there's some, at first time names were being brought up for y'all. So let's just kind of talk about that. Where were you involved that week?
Yeah, well, first of all, with Liz going on the block, I knew it was inevitable. I had a conversation with Jackie, and I'm like, look, I know you have to, you're going to put Liz myself on the block because I put you up the previous week. And I basically just told her, I'm like, look, eye for an eye. I put you up, you put me up. After this, I hope that we could be good. So I was there campaigning that night, and then we switched the next day for the Battle of the Block. And Liz came into the house. She was so shocked that I was like, okay, we're on the block. You know, you're with James. You have to win this Battle of the Block. If not, like, we could be going home. But honestly, we had no idea that James was planning on throwing it. And when we found out, we were so livid because obviously, like, you know, who wants to be on the block with someone who's going to throw it? That's like the worst feeling ever. And that, like, this is like going to come up in the future, but you know, we found out Vanessa was in on it too. So that's when we were so mad that happened. But backtracking a little bit, this week, you know, I found out that Austin, you know, told Jason that, you know, her name is Julia, the other twin is Julia, and you should target her when she comes in the house. And you know, that's when I stopped trusting Austin. I was so mad when Vanessa told me that. And that's why I became extremely loyal to Vanessa, because this is the week that she told me, you know, she didn't have to tell me that, and she did. And I kept the secret from Liz that I knew what Austin said until she won Battle of the Block, because I wanted her mind to be clear. I wanted her to win that Battle of the Block and not be thinking, oh my God, like Austin is an asshole. No, I'm kidding.
No, we've kind of heard Austin's explanation of it. I'm guessing you have too. What do you think about it now that he's going to be your brother-in-law?
Oh my God, yeah. I'll see him at Christmas dinner. No, he told me, he's like, you know, I was just trying to set it up where we didn't know who was going to win that HOH, and I just wanted to, you know, play the other side of the house and, you know, keep us safe. I wanted to grow up, have a connection with Jason and that side of the house.
Do you think he's full of shit, or is he trying to cover his tracks now?
Honestly, I think that in that moment, I think he's full of shit and trying to cover his tracks. Because honestly, like, I don't think it was good for his game for me to, you know, come in the house, because I think he wanted Liz all to himself. And, you know, he realized, if I can't go to Final 3 with these two girls, they're always going to bring each other over me. If I get rid of Julia, Liz will always be loyal to me. So yeah, I think he wanted me out.
Well,
Sorry,
the good thing about it is that it all worked out. You guys played a fucking tremendous game. So
it did. Yeah.
Exactly.
Together, y'all played a tremendous
game. Exactly.
Course,
Absolutely.
Yes, we were the fortress.
Jason's gonna go. Jason was a threat to y'all because he knew about the twin twists. He was one of the ones that kind of aggravated that in the house. So Jason's gonna go. Going into this next week, you get to come in the house and play. And this is big because Battle of the Block is over, and James is. Got his mindset on Clay and Shelly. Now, this is kind of interesting because the competition goes down to the end where Shelly tries to make this deal to keep herself and Clay safe. James takes the deal and then goes back on it. So this is a couple things. One, you know, you can't trust Clay and Shelly to look out for y'all. And then two, you can't trust James for long-term for a deal.
Right.
So what does this do to you? Because, I mean, like, they were the targets. He went after them. Liz told us that he told y'all that he's going to make a big move and there's nothing to worry about. And it would seem very nerve-wracking to hear him make that deal, knowing that y'all would be a great set of nominations, since you're twins in the house. It'd be a good kill. So just kind of talk about this week. When do you start realizing at this point that now that you're in the house, people are scared to try to target you, or kind of how does this week go for you?
Well, I mean, I think this week, I think he wanted to make the bigger move at that point was to get rid of Clay and Shelly, because, you know, they were always going to be most loyal to each other. And, you know, at that point, Shelly had won, I guess this was like her second HOH win. So she had won 2 HOHs at this point.
Yes, this would have been a third,
Okay, so I think, you know, he realized, okay, she's like a really good player. Liz had only won 1. So at that point, I think it was, you know, he wanted to make a big move. And, you know, we kind of pleaded our case after he won. We're like, look, we're just here to have fun. We want to make it to jury. Like, please don't, you know, put us up. So we were just trying to play like our case that, you know, we're just here for fun. And I think that worked, because I think a lot of people were, you know, Shelly and Clay were running the house. So at that moment, I think that was a really big move. I think that we didn't look as much of a threat as Clay and Shelly did. So I think that's why James did it.
So this week,
targeting the Us twins.
Okay. So this week, James is going to win the veto also and keep the noms the same. His plan originally is to keep Clay and try to work with him. This is not what's going to end up happening, because, you know, your sister Vanessa apparently see it in their best interest to keep Shelly, because you can work with her. She's not going to intermingle with the other side of the house, and it's somebody that y'all can work with. So she's gonna stay, and Clay's gonna go. Getting Clay out was a pretty big move. James can claim it, but it helped everybody out.
Yes,
and
yes.
the other side of the house more than helped him out.
Right.
So this next week is going to be kind of a scary week, I guess, because Becky's going to win the HOH, but she's going to nominate Shelly and Steve, and then Steve's going to veto, and Vanessa and Shelly on the block. So here's two allies. They are on the block, but everybody stabs poor Becky in the back, and they keep Van and toss Shelly away. Kind of talk about this. You are obviously close to Vanessa, closer to her than Shelly. So this was you. What were you thinking when Vanessa was in jeopardy?
When Vanessa was in jeopardy, I did a lot to, try and convince the other house guests to vote for Vanessa over Shelly. And this week it was weird because this is when Shelly starts hanging out with us a lot because Clay is gone. And that's when I realized, I'm like, you know what? Like, now that Clay's gone, her game is not as strong. I think she relied too much on Clay. And then when he got evicted, then she starts trying to, hang out with us and talk to us all the time. But it's like, where were you the first couple of weeks? I haven't really had a conversation with you for longer than 10 minutes. And I just realized, okay, I'm more loyal to Vanessa. So I got to help Vanessa, stay in the house. I was one of the only people that would go to the room with Vanessa and talk to her while she was really sad, reading the Bible. So I did a lot of work that week to get Vanessa to stay over Shelly. And it came to one point I had to tell Shelly, I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I'm voting for Vanessa. I've been closer with her since day one. And, I kind of had to break the news to Shelly that I wasn't going to be voting for her. But all in all, I realized it's better for my game if Vanessa goes. Shelly started getting really close with Johnny Mac and Steve this week. And we realized that they were trying to form a side alliance. So I'm like, I have to keep Vanessa. I have to convince everyone we need Vanessa. And this week I was Vanessa's number one cheerleader because I realized I need her for my game. She's better than Shelly for my game at this point. So
and that's a very tough sell, really, at that point in the game because Vanessa was a big target.
Right.
The thing that we have not mentioned here that's important to bring up, because now that Sixth Sense is gone, I mean, Clay's gone, Shelly's about to leave, Freaks and Geeks and Scamper Squad is basically the forefront alliance here.
Yes.
Okay. Your loyalty. So that's going to be a very important because when the double eviction after Shelly leaves, Steve wins HOH, and because of his loyalty to Scamper Squad and wanting to solidify that loyalty, he makes, which is a confusing move to a lot of the audience, but he puts Jackie and Meg on the block.
And
John's
Meg,
from the veto. Yeah, and Jackie's. Did I say Meg? Did I say Jackie?
You said, you
Jack,
got it right. Yeah.
Jackie and Meg. Yeah.
And then anyway, Jackie's gonna go home. Jackie was a big Jackie was somebody that could have. She was physical enough and athletic enough that she could have won some competitions. She had to not give a shit enough to put up huge targets. So Steve getting Jackie out of the house was really, really helpful to Scamper Squad.
Yes.
So during that double eviction time, you were just chill. You weren't worried at all. You knew that there's nothing to worry about there, right?
Yeah, honestly, though, it's funny because I had no idea who Steve was going to put up. I really, literally had no idea. And I heard him in the bathroom after the veto. He goes up to James and he's like, "You're not my target. You're not my target. I just want to tell you, you're not my target." And I start freaking out at that point. I'm like, oh my God, if James isn't his target, the other side of the house, who is?
Yes.
So when he put up Meg and Jackie, I was so shocked. Obviously really happy because it wasn't anyone from our team. And that's when I really knew that Steve was loyal to us. And, that's when he solidified his part in the Scamper Squad because, he finally, this is his first HOH win and he, targeted the other side over us. So I'm like, okay, this is when I knew, I'm like, this guy is loyal to us and I'm happy to be working with him.
Okay. Good deal. Well, Jackie leaves, and then Liz is going to win HOH. So that's really awesome. She's going to nominate Becky and John, and she's going to have a pretty good week and win the veto also. So y'all get total control here. And Becky was a huge physical threat. She was a gamer. So she was a good person to get out. Now, tell me about your relationship with Becky. Did y'all have any really friendship, relationship, social game interactions with each other? How was that? And you saw her as just as beneficial to get out as your sister did, correct?
Honestly, I really loved Becky the whole game. we were never really on the same, side. When she won this HOH, she kind of, established, okay, I have a group and you guys have a group. I remember in her HOH room, she'd always say, my group, my group. So, that's when, we realized the lines are drawn in the sand. There's groups in this house. We were so happy that she wasn't going to come after us because she told us before this competition, she's like, I'm not going after you guys. You guys are cool. And, I think it was a good move for Liz to get her out because in the competition that she had won, it was called Midway. I came in like pretty much second place. I was like really close to winning it. So Becky was our biggest, our like not biggest rival, but like if she wasn't in the game, I probably would have won that competition. So she was really close to us in competition wise. So Liz just realized, okay, we have to get in between her and Johnny Mac. Obviously, she's a stronger competitor. Let's get her out. She wasn't on our group. She wasn't a part of our group. So that's what the decision came down to this week. And people were saying, oh, it was a lot of Vanessa's, idea to get Becky out. Liz was doing Vanessa's dirty work, but I think it was a good move for Liz because she was a competition beast. So I don't think it necessarily was Vanessa's move, even though Vanessa did want Becky out.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. Well, trudging through this next week because Becky is going to go and Austin's going to HOH, which is, big safety. So John and Steve get nominated. Vanessa's going to win the veto and John is going to walk out the door. Obviously... Let's go ahead.
I was gonna say during this HOH, did you try to push any of your agenda towards Austin? Like kind of like, okay, well this is what I want, or was it just like sit back, relax, and cross your arms and relax? Camp. I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, like with Austin's HOH, with everyone's HOH, they want to make their own move, and you can't really, you could say your piece, but it's going to be up to the HOH, and at this point, this is when me, Austin, and Liz like really started getting closer, and I mean, everyone thought I hated Austin the whole game, but I actually towards the end, I really started, getting to know him better and really liking him. For Liz and him, for their sake. But so we always just knew we're like, okay, this was he put up Steve and John, and we're like, honestly, John would be a good move at this point. He's not on our side, and we always wanted to keep safe. Me and Liz always wanted to keep Steve safe. So this week, I think it was all a group decision. Okay, we have to send Johnny Mac home.
Okay.
And this is the week we started getting close with Meg and James. So
yeah. The with brass tacks.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
And it was Austin's idea to keep them, he wanted to make an alliance with them, but I was never really wanting to. I thought we should target Meg and James, but I wasn't going to approach Austin with that because he never wanted to target them at this point. He wanted to wait till after the jury came back. So that wasn't going to happen. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to sit here and cross my arms.
Absolutely. So with being the HOH of the week that somebody's going to go and somebody's going to come back, that is nerve-wracking. So, really a good plan is to not get that blood on your hands, make it look like, that kind of thing. So, good outlook on that. So John is going to come back in. Vanessa's going to win this HOH this next week and nominate James and Meg. James is going to win the veto, and then you're going to find yourself on the block. You felt pretty safe, though. This was not was this a week where was there a lot of fear for you? I mean, being on the block is nerve-wracking, so just kind of talk.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I was so mad about, me being the pawn. I obviously didn't like that because I hadn't won anything, so it doesn't make sense that I'll be the pawn. I'm not a threat compared to Meg because we both haven't won any competitions, so that was okay. But like coming out, I find out, they were trying to flip the vote, and at one point I thought Austin was too. So this is when I finally realized like the paranoia you get when you're on the block, and my intuition was right. People were trying to flip the vote to get me out instead of Meg. Steve and John were, and I was so shocked by that because I thought me and Steve were really close. I thought for sure he would never go against voting me out, and now when I find out that he was, I was like, wow, like that was like really risky of me to agree to be the pawn and risk getting voted out. And honestly, I'm just so glad I didn't.
You have to see it from his perspective, where it's like you guys are a monster team,
Sure,
so
sure,
it makes sense, but
absolutely,
very risky maneuver, but it pays off,
Yeah, well, it's definitely miraculous I didn't get voted out.
Absolutely.
Well, Meg is going to go, and following right behind her will be James. But Liz is going to win HOH, and you're going to win this next power veto too.
Yay!
So that's awesome right there. That's got to feel good to come off the block and then immediately have.
We're back in power. Yeah,
back in power.
That
Boom.
was great.
Yes, exactly. So James does leave. Now you and James had a pretty decent relationship, but it was at the point in the game where he had to go. So that's so now that James leaves, numbers are dwindling, and the Austins have y'all do have a majority at this point, don't you? As far as voting block, if none of y'all are on the block. So, but that's not going to happen because Steve wins this next HOH. And how did you feel about the noms when he nominated Austin and Liz? Did you know that it could be scary for you? Did you understand the game well enough to know that you could be in jeopardy this week?
Definitely. I knew, that night once, after he won, I was happy at first, but then I just started realizing like, okay, there's no way that he's going to put up John, and he obviously one of the Ostwins is going up, and I didn't think he was going to put up Liz or I, because I don't know if they played this, but right before the double eviction, he brings us into the parlor room and he's like, you guys have to promise on your family that if you win, you're not going to put me up for double eviction. And we're like, okay, yeah, we're not going to put you up. Hello, we're in the same alliance. And so we never thought in a million years that he would put either one of us up. So when I found out that morning, I think it was, basically I found out the day of the nominations that he's putting up Liz and Austin. Like, that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, one of us is going home this week. And I knew it was inevitable. One of us, I have to win the veto to not go home this week, basically. So.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what was going through my mind.
This is one of the most interesting parts, I think, of the season. Yes. I know you know exactly where I'm going to go with this.
Oh yes.
So the veto competition. Vanessa looks over and says, blah, 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 pick this person. What was kind of walk us through that, because I know that from your perspective, like, there was some merit, there was some logic to what Vanessa's saying. You've been really tight with Vanessa this whole time. You guys have been, she's looked out for you, so kind of walk me through, like, your thought process during that, like, very quick moment. Okay.
Well, so with this whole week, I'm like, I thought that Austin was acting sketchy, because the fact that he knew that he knew that he was going to be a pawn, and Steve told both of them. Well, no, Steve told Austin that you're the pawn and Liz is the target. So we felt when the nominations happened, I was acting so sketched out by Austin, because he was acting cool as a cucumber, and I was actually telling Liz, I'm like, he knows that he's not the target, Liz. Like, he's acting way too cool right now. So I thought something was up. That night, Austin and Vanessa had been in Steve's room all night. So I was acting super sketched out by Austin. And when Vanessa turned and looked at me, people were saying, she was telling people that, oh, I was like looking at her for advice, but I actually was just like looking around, and she starts looking at me with these crazy eyes, like, Julia, trust me, if you don't want to be on the block with your sister, you have to pick Austin. You have to pick Austin. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, what does she know that I don't know? Yep. They were in the HOH room last night till really late. I thought, something sketchy was going down, and I just knew, like, I have to trust her. She's telling me to trust her, and that was the logic that was going through my head. I did not want to go on the block next to Liz, and I was very skeptical that Austin would throw it to me. Yeah. So that's ultimately why I decided, okay, I need to challenge Austin. I cannot, if he wins this veto, this is the worst case scenario, and I do not want to be on the block next to my sister. So
absolutely. Sure. Yeah, and I knew that there was some sort of like reason behind it. It wasn't just like, oh, okay, like blindly as the show edit made it out to be.
And of course, ultimately, the worst thing would be for you to be on the block against your sister. So, like, in theory, it didn't make sense, of course. So, okay, so he does win this veto, and he freaks out. There's lots of uproar afterwards.
And Judas comes out.
Judas makes an appearance.
Yes.
So kind of talk about, this is kind of a weird shakeup, because there's a point where Liz is pissed off that Austin's not using the veto on her. Austin's pissed off. Austin's pissed off that everybody. He thinks everybody's working against him. Anyway, you're the one that's going up on the block. So like everybody, just kind of talk about the emotions in the house, and then we'll get through the veto meeting where you get nominated, and then go from there.
Right. Okay. So after the whole veto goes down, there was obviously a lot of tension in the house. Vanessa, like I go to the have not room, and Austin and Liz are telling me you just got played by Vanessa, and I'm like, oh my god. I go to Vanessa and I'm like, what just happened? Like, did you just play me? And she's like, Julia, like I swear to God, I would never do that to you. Like she swore on her family that she wasn't trying to trick me, and she said, I wish I could tell you all the stuff that I have on Austin, like. And that just reaffirmed it to me. I'm like, oh my God, like Austin has definitely been like dragging my name through the dirt. What do I not know about him? And of course she wouldn't tell me, but that just reaffirmed. I'm like, okay, what does she know about Austin that I don't know? So I'm really curious to see like what she was talking about and watch the show. But this week I pretty much knew I was the replacement nominee, and there's nothing I could do about it because it obviously made sense for Steve's game to get one of us out. And at that point, we're like, me and Liz, this is us against the rest of the house. We have to make the best decision on who's going to stay and, win the freaking money at the end. So at this point, we decided, Liz is going to stay in the house, and, she's going to fight for the both of us to make it to the end.
How weird is that, though, that y'all talked about it, decided who's going to stay?
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's really kind of bizarre how that,
I know.
how all that kind of talk happened.
Do you think
how we were allowed to do that?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like, tell me about, like, why did you not want to stay? Why did you feel like Liz deserved to stay? Like, even if you like it was determined that you were playing for second, she was playing to win. But like we found out ultimately she's going to get to the end and still get second. So like in theory, it could have been you. Was there a reason to sacrifice for her? Was it just that you thought she had the best shot, or did you feel like you owed it to her? What exactly was going on in your mind?
Yeah. No, well, I didn't think I owed it to her, but we were just like, what our decision came down to was she's won more competitions. I just thought she deserves to be here, and she like, if I stay, I'm playing for second. I haven't won any HOHs, so I'm obviously not going to win if I make it to final two. And, we thought Liz had a really good shot of winning if she made it to final two. After I left, though, I was like kind of second guessing the decision. I'm like, great, like, Austin and Liz are still like a huge threat in the house because they're like the couple that is still there. But I'm like, okay, if it's Liz and Austin, I think people will want to get Austin over Liz. So she still has a good chance of, staying in the house and making it to final two. So our decision basically just came down to who we thought would have a better chance of winning the first place prize.
Okay.
So,
okay. I mean, and it's legitimately smart to go by the numbers. And that was, if you had to look on paper and you had the choice, which is so odd because y'all were talking about keeping the best person to win in the game here at this is like final six. And the rest of the houses would want to get out the person who had the least likely chance of winning. So it seems odd that this deep in the game, any kind of negotiation to keep the better player and the one in the showmance, and I don't mean better, but you know what I'm saying, on paper. It's just so funny. It's funny, and that really kind of shows maybe up to the very end how much power the Oz twins had. So I think that Julia, for this game, because this is where we do leave you, and I hate I hate even awesome y'all to march to the final three. But you did. But like I said, this is really kind of a testament to the strength and the power of the Oz twins too, and how incredible it was this season. You were part of a monster in the house that was very tricky to pick apart. It was a powerhouse.
Something that's going to go down in history. Big Brother history as something very, very interesting to watch. Something that's very, very strategically a very interesting group of people that ran a new strategy.
I mean, to think that
and it worked.
Absolutely.
To think that Oz twins made it down to where y'all were half of the house is incredible.
Yeah,
fucking bonkers.
incredible. I know.
Bonkers.
I know.
Absolutely. So Liz, I'm seeing your name up here. It says, well, no, you Skype me.
I get that a lot. I know. I am on her Skype. I am.
But I'm on your, and it says your name down here. And this whole time I've been like, don't fucking read that. But anyway, Julia, is there anything we did not cover in the game that needs to be brought to the surface? Anything that we left out? Any gaps?
No, I mean, we covered everything, and I'm so happy with the decision that me and Liz made. I'm so happy that she won final two. She made it to final two, and I think it was a great season. And even though I'm sad that, you know, people started figuring us out on week 2. Even if they figured out that we were twins, we made it really far, and
Yes.
I'm proud of us for doing that.
You guys
so.
did something that, no one in the world would have ever thought you guys would have ever made it that far, especially with the showmans, with twins. No one.
Right, and I think that helped us too, the showman.
Well, yeah,
so.
it definitely helped you, but again,
absolutely.
on paper, it looks like that should have hurt you. Nothing but hurt you. You know?
And if you look at somebody like Austin, who week 1 was aligned with Jace, the guy that left, he overcame major hardship there. He was a target. Or I mean, like y'all all kind of had your own difficulties, but the fact that y'all were together and solidly together, you know, with the Vanessa in there in the mix a little bit. It was a very interesting thing to watch the whole season. So thank you very much, Julia. Do you want to shout out your social media, anything else like that? So
yes, I would love to. Follow me on Twitter at Julia Nolan _. The underscore is a little tricky, but it's just Julia Nolan _ Snapchat is Julia Nolan 26, and Instagram is at Julia Nolan.
Excellent. Can you give me your best DR walk out to the back room, or you walk outside? Walk us through. Give us one of those. I want to hear your diary room voice.
Okay, so you want my best diary room?
Yeah. All right.
Just introduce us to a comp. Yeah, when you walk outside and you see one of the competitions, just do that whole round.
Oh my God. Okay, like how do I just?
So I walk out to the backyard and I see that. Do a DR.
Oh my God. Okay. So I walk into the backyard and I see the infamous Bowl Arena, McCrae versus Amanda, and I know if BB history repeats itself, I know it's going down today. Lovers versus lovers. Who's gonna win?
Oh, amazing! Thank you so much. Thank you. That was fantastic.
And I get eliminated. Yay!
Oh, thank you.
Julia, thanks so much for giving us your time, and it's been a lot of fun to talk to you. I've really been looking forward to this interview, all season. Like I said, we were a big Oz Twins fan, and it was so. Anyway, glad to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Spencer and McCrae. Love you guys.
Love you too. Thank you. All right, and everyone, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, follow, do all that stuff, and you guys know the drill. Do all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys next time on the block.
All the good
on
stuff.
the block. Bye.
Bye.